Hey everyone, this is Emmy, also known as Superdrive Zero, and this is my first cosplay tutorial video. So today I'm going to be telling you guys how to use WonderUnder or double-sided interfacing in order to add details to a cosplay. And I really like this method because it looks really crisp and clean. Alternatives would be like trying to sew your detailed things on, which can be time consuming and can end up not looking good if the edges fray, or using paint, which I also just don't think looks very good, because if you're thinking about how a real outfit would look, you wouldn't normally see details painted onto an outfit. So that's why I think this method is a little better. You can do something with fabric, but it's really simple and ends up looking really nice. Example you can see here, this is just a little bag that I made, and I added a Triforce on here using this method. You can see it's really clean, no frays. It's attached well, and it just looks nice. Some examples of cosplays I've done that have used this method: the tunic of my Chic cosplay, I used this, and then I cosplayed as PETA from the Hunger Games with his flame suit, so the arms and legs of the suit where their flames are, I used this method to attach those. And also, for our Code Geass cosplays, we used this method to put the school crest onto the ties and onto the guys' collars. So to use this method, you're going to need to get some of this. This is known as WonderUnder or double-sided interfacing. They're a little different. Interfacing is supposed to add stiffness, but it kind of works either way. This is like WonderUnder I got from Walmart because it was really cheap. I would recommend going and getting something a little better from Joann's, just because I did have problems after I used this with my things actually peeling off. So I used this on my Chic cosplay, and I've had to re-iron it a few times to get it to stay on. You can tell what this is. It's like a fusible web. So it's paper backed, and then you can see here there's like, this is actually like a glue. So the way that this works is you're going to put this on the fabric and then iron it on. It will adhere, you peel the paper off, and then you can put your piece of fabric on your other fabric and iron them together. I'm not working on any cosplays that need this right now, so today I'm going to be making a little Fire Nation bag, which one of my friends will be receiving later. So let's get started. I'll show you how it works. For your first step, you're just going to be cutting the shape you want out of paper. You can either just print off an image like I did today and cut it out, or you can draw it. For Chic, I actually had to draw it on newspaper because it was too big to print, and just try a couple different sizes. Make sure it's exactly how you want it on paper first before you go through all the effort of doing this. So once you have your image out, all you need to do is just lay it down onto the paper, and you can kind of mark off an area of how big it is. Don't actually trace and cut the image out yet. Just cut out a square of the WonderUnder that is big enough to encompass your image. Now, if your design uses multiple different colors like Chic did, when you cut out your pieces, if this one was red and this one was blue, make sure you cut those out separately. Don't measure them like this, because obviously you need to have them separate. And for Chic, it had a couple different pieces of each color, so it was good to lay them out on here to see how they fit, so that I could get them as close together as possible to use the least amount of WonderUnder and the least amount of fabric as possible. So once you have your piece cut out, you're going to take it and glue side down, put it on the fabric. So you want the glue side touching the fabric. Try to make sure it doesn't overlap off the edge, because then you're going to get glue stuck to your ironing board or whatever you're ironing on. I already have a piece of this prepared, so I'm not actually ironing it right now, but when you're actually ironing it, make sure that it's, inside the line and not going off. Otherwise it's going to get stuck to your ironing board. And you're just going to take your iron, put it on a low setting usually. Make sure it's something that's appropriate for the fabric you're using. And you're just going to want to press and hold it down. Look on the instructions. Usually these come with instructions for what to do. Sometimes you can use steam, but sometimes they say not to, so just make sure that you follow that correctly. So you're just going to keep lifting and placing it back down, holding it there, count to about 10 Mississippi or so, lift it up, move it to the next place. But then once you do that, this will adhere to the fabric. So once you get the WonderUnder stuck onto the fabric, then it's going to be time to trace your image on there. I think it's best to trace it on the paper side. So you need to remember, if you want your image to be facing this way, that on the back it needs to be flipped. So you can just set it on there, and then you can just write right on this paper, because it's going to be coming off. If you have like a delicate fabric or something, then maybe write carefully so that you don't snag the fabric. I'm just using a basic cotton, so it's not really a big deal for me. Alright, so once you have your image traced, then it's time to just cut it out. And when you're cutting this out, this is where you want to use really careful cuts with your scissors, because you really want this to look clean, and in order for it to look, crisp and clean, you can't have like jagged cuts, because then it's going to look all jagged and frayed. So once you get it to this point, all that's left to do is peel off the paper on the back, and then you're going to place it onto the other fabric and iron it on. Now when you're peeling off your paper, sometimes it doesn't adhere all the way, so if you start peeling it off and you notice that the glue is still attached to the paper, just put it back down and hold the iron back on it for a few more seconds, and make sure it sticks all the way to the fabric. So when you're peeling this off now, you should have a piece of fabric that has glue on the back. And you can see, because it has that glue on it, it's preventing this from fraying, even though this is cotton, which should fray really easily. You can see here how that piece looks. So this really makes it look nice. Alright, so the final step, you just lay it with the glue side down on the fabric you want to put it on. And you do the same as before. You just take your iron and you press and hold. And then you count, 10 or 15 seconds. Lift up your iron, and it'll be all finished. Ta-da! And once you finish, you're going to want to let it cool for a little bit before you try picking at it or anything. You shouldn't pick at it anyways because it will peel off, but you just got to let it cool to let the glue set. So that's how you do it. Then you end up with a nice crisp looking details on your cosplay or whatever you're making, and it's really simple, really easy, and it ends up with a nice result. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.